So we're in Rishikesh, which is in the north of India, and check out the streets. There's a lot of cows here, and people actually do worship them. Because it's a religious place, I saw people just like near the river, they pick up random cows, start putting stuff on them, putting water on them and worshiping. It's really cool. All the food places here are fully vegetarian. This whole part of town is just about devotion and temples and, you know, people who are here for religious and spiritual reasons. I'm gonna go in and have lunch. It's pretty much $1.10 for all of this food. So we're done with lunch, and then whatever is the leftover bread, you just feed it to the cow. Look at that. That's why the cows in this town are so fat, because they get fed a lot. So these are all like lodgings where people can stay. So a lot of the lodgings here are actually free. It's constructed by people who are volunteers and they donate money. So it's really interesting, and everyone who works on those places are also volunteers. At this place right here, it's called Gita Bhavan, and this whole complex has 4,000 rooms, and it was constructed by the vision of one guy who in his older age decided that, hey, you know what, I want to take all the money I've earned and help people with it. And he was a religious guy, so he came here to Rishikesh and decided to build all of this for people who are interested, and, you know, especially people of older age who want to come here, devote their life to God and just spend time with other people of their age, and it's free for all of such people. And yeah, I'm here because my grandma is here, and I'll just show you the room right here. It's really humble rooms. That's my mom. It's my grandma. दादाजी वीडियो ले रहा है, कुछ बोले?
अभिषेक है, बदमाशी करता है, अपने दादी को तंग करता है.
Alright, so I'm walking on the streets. Another thing I found out yesterday is that this place was known as the International Yoga Capital, and they had like the biggest yoga convention here. And some history behind that. Apparently the way foreigners started coming to Rishikesh is the Beatles back in 1968 visited some sort of ashram, and after people knew that the Beatles came here, everyone started coming here. And now it's the 5th most visited city in India by foreign tourists. Yeah, this is the hotel room where I'm staying with my parents. You see, a lot different from the room that my grandma is staying in. Alright, we took a quick break in the hotel. This is the first temple that we're going to. It's a temple of Lord Shiv. It's somewhere up on the hill. It's gonna be a 1-hour taxi ride. The temple is called Neelkant. Neelkant means a blue neck. I think it's because the Lord Shiv is of the color blue. It's named after that. So that's the taxi stand. That's where we're getting a taxi to go to the temple. So we're driving on the mountain, and the car can basically fall at any time because there's no barricades, and it's just one lane. It's one lane, but there's cars coming from both sides. Right, we just arrived to our destination. This is where all the taxis are parked, and now we have to walk all the way to the temple. So first, we're stopping for tea before going to the temple. It's gonna be fresh in my bed here. So let's sit down here and have our tea first. So that's the tea, and that's the national cookie with which you eat, with which you drink tea. You dip it like that, make sure it doesn't fall inside, and then... Alright, so we're done drinking our tea, and now we're actually walking up to the temple. Look at these views. It's beautiful. They're making you take your flip-flops off here, saying that it's free, but then they force you to buy something. So we took it off at some place thinking it's free, and then the guys are, oh, if you're not buying anything, take it away. So just wasted time. Right, welcome to the chaos of Indian temples. I have no clue what's going on here. Okay, I think that's the line for people to go into the temple. Look at that, people are just like stuffed in. The line up there is where it actually starts, and apparently it's a 1-hour line, so you have to stand in that crowded area for 1 hour just to go see the sculpture of the god. Yeah, there's no way I'm doing that. My dad's trying to negotiate his way in, and they told him, oh, normally the line's 5 hours long, so you're really lucky that it's only 1 hour. What are you complaining about? Literally, that's what people are lining up for. There's a little black sculpture in that little window, That's all that people are lining up for 1 hour. And yeah, that guy, the priest gives the blessing. Look at that, interesting. So that guy is hitting us with feathers. I don't know why. Oh, he hits you with, to give you blessings and take money from you. So yeah, now we're gonna make our way down because there's nothing else here except the temple. And yeah, we got a slight peek of what we wanted to see, but not a full one. Another fact about Rishikesh that's really interesting is that for a lot of Hindus, they have a pilgrimage of 4 holy sites. So people first go to Rishikesh and use that as a hopping off point to go to those 4 holy sites. There's so many rafts going through the river. We're trying some street popcorn. This is how they make it. It's 40 rupees, 50 cents for a box like that. Look at that. It's the local traffic jam. There's a gridlock here. This car can't pass. These guys can't move back. This happens often here. Because it's just, they shouldn't allow cars here. They should make all of this pedestrian streets. It's just crazy. This is gonna be it for today. I need to go to the river and show that. Hopefully we go to the river tomorrow or day after. Alright, it's day 2 and you always gotta start your day with some tea and parleji. So I'm doing that and then we're gonna go to the river. And it's really cold right now. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but we have to take these things. Food packets like with sugar, some sort of rice. And we're gonna go donate it to some people. I'm not sure who those people are. We'll figure everything out. Okay, so as we're going, I'm getting a little more of the story. So we're giving these out to people who are of the caste Brahman. So no matter what their job or profession, so we just gave it to 2 security guards, and my dad had to like basically bow down to them as a sign of respect because they're from the highest caste. For the most part in big cities in India, the caste system is over, but some traditions like this still live on. Okay, now we're just walking in some back alleys and looking for Brahmins.
This is the employees' residence.
Looks like Brahmin nahi?
ये लोग ब्राह्मण नहीं बाबू मेरा सिद्धांत रहता है कि जिसके जरूरत है
Okay, so it turns out we're not just donating to Brahmins, which is good. We're also donating it to people in need. The workers of the lodging live in pretty humble conditions. He's making bread for the cows and also for people. चलो ठीक है राम राम.
रोटी खाएंगे ना आपको एक जगह पर 2 खा लेंगे, 3 खा लेंगे, 4 खा लेंगे.
So check this out. You can see people lined up. All the people with beards, they're called sadhus. I think those are basically saints in India. I'm pretty sure they're of the Brahmin caste, and they sit here and line up here every day at 7 a.m. to receive donations from people. A lot of people consider it to be a good deed to donate to people of the highest caste. I don't completely agree with it, but look at that. Look at how far the line goes. So yeah, it's the folks who sit here. They always expect donations, and since we didn't make it to them, they got mad at my dad and they're yelling at him. It's kind of funny. Look at that. This guy's donating to them. He's giving some juices. Like that. He got a juice.
ना ऐसा डोलू तो मैंने बहुत दान किया अंग्रेजों के समय में. क्या ये तो कलयुग है, मोदी राज है, डोलू लेते नहीं है.
These saints are literally heckling at us. It's so saintly of them to heckle at people who are donating to actually people in need. So also apparently these saints are notorious for smoking weed. In India it's illegal because people are feeding them for free every day because on the name of religion. So they take advantage of that, and instead of actually trying to contribute to society, they just drink and stay high because they can get free food. Ram Ram. The whole family lives in a room. For example, look at that. That's a bed. And that probably houses 4 people.
यहाँ पे जो सब रहते हैं लोग कहाँ काम करते हैं? सब गीता भवन में काम करते. क्या काम करते हैं गीता भवन में? प्लम्बर का काम करते हैं।
So I'm making sure everyone subscribes to my YouTube. लोग सब लोग YouTube यूज़ करते हो? YouTube ज़्यादा यूज़ करते हैं Instagram? YouTube। बोल लेते हो इंग्लिश में?
नहीं, थोड़ी बात ही बोल पाते हैं।
अच्छा, वैसे YouTube ये सब पे वीडियो आप लोग हिंदी में देखते हैं इंग्लिश में?
हिंदी में।
अच्छा, we're done with all the donations and now we're on our way to the river Ganges to take a dip into the river. And one of the biggest beliefs is dipping in the river absolves you of your sins. So given how sinful I am, I'll need a few thousand dips. Also, people believe that going and bathing and dipping in that water every day also helps cure diseases and just keeps your body healthy in general. So my grandma here, she's 81 and she does this every day. And her hair is still black, she doesn't have any major disease. So you know what, I might kind of believe the disease part of it too. Yeah. Also, most Indian Hindu people, once they die, their ashes go into this river too. Not maybe exactly at this point, there's different locations, usually a little more downstream. But yeah, for example, my grandma has asked the river where she bathes every day, at this very point, that's where she wants her ashes to be put once she passes away. So yeah, normally people here don't wear swimsuits to go into the river. Like men just go in their shorts and women actually go in their full clothes. As you can see, my grandma's going to go into the river with her whole sari on. She dips like 108 times. I'm actually going to count. I don't buy it. 108 times because that's an auspicious number. Also look at how strongly the river is flowing. For an 81-year-old person to go like that and just dip. Look at that. There goes my grandma. 4, 5. Yeah, she's still going. I did like 10 and I'm done. In the river, you have to hold on to a chain. Otherwise, you can get flown away. The river is so strong, it keeps pushing you. Gusa! My dad can do once, my grandma can do 108 times more than him. It's really cold. Oh my god. Woo! Woo! It's a pretty fun activity and very spiritual and religious, dating back to I don't know how many thousands of years ago. That's how old and rich the Indian culture is. So now my grandma is rotating in one spot. That's to give her dues to the sun god, basically to pray to the sun. So my grandma is directly drinking water from here. Apparently, yeah, people drink water directly. Pia, pia, pia. पी लिया नहीं थूका नहीं My grandma's making me drink it. The coldest is when you come out of this water. This water is coming from the glacier, I think some 100 kilometers away. So it's really, really cold. We're done with the river and bathing. We're right next to the river. There's always people praying. People praying behind me, that goes on for 24 hours. People keep changing, but there's always someone praying there. That's really insane. This is the local temple. Every time you go in, you ring the bell. Like it's considered auspicious to go around these walls. You have to go around an odd number of times, it can't be even. So now we're gonna be taking a taxi to another town called Haridwar, which is 1 hour from Rishikesh. For people of the Hindu religion, whenever someone dies in their families, cremation is what people do to dead bodies. They don't bury it. So once those dead bodies are cremated, the ashes are actually put in the river. And Haridwar is a very popular place where people go and put those ashes in the river. And one of the reasons they do it in Haridwar is because it's north of India. It's at the beginning of the Ganges River. So they say that when you put the ashes that high up in the river, the ashes spread all across the river and all across India. So now we're on a bridge to cross the river. It's not just a pedestrian bridge, they also let motorbikes in. There's random motorbike honking and going through. Also, at this point of time, we've decided we're not going to that town we were originally going to go to because the traffic is really bad. It might take us 2 hours to get there. We took that bridge to come all the way to the other side, and now we're going to take that little boat to cross the river. So that's the boat. Kitna laga? 50 cents per person to get on the boat. Right, the boat's moving and we're gonna go across to the other side. We're arriving on the other side of the river, and just look at the sheer number of people bathing in the river. They sell a lot of these bottles here for people to take the river water home, and then they take the river water home and drink a little bit at a time. Like whenever you pray to God in the morning, after that you have a little bit of the river water. Some road repairs going on here, so the roads are completely destroyed. Look at that. There's a lot of monkeys in this accommodation, so you can put little rocks and catapult them towards the monkey. You don't even have to hit, I think they know. So apparently every day at 3 p.m. they have this service to God where everyone gathers, the women and men sit separately. I tried to go sit with my grandma and they kicked me out. So yeah, that's the guy who's gonna give the talk about, pretty sure he's gonna also talk about the Hindu religious books, the Gita. I have left the religious gathering. I was about to leave, and the person who was giving the talk, he's like, you know, people who leave in between while this is going on are called, like, you know, basically like party poopers. And I was like, damn, I can't leave now. He called out people who leave. So I stayed extra 5 minutes and then I dipped. So everyone right now is praying to the river. This happens every day. I was scared my hand's gonna burn. This is one of the most popular things to do whenever you visit Rishikesh. Check out the prayers to the river. Look at the sheer amount of people here. Even the local dogs have come to check it out. Okay, everyone takes blessings from the fire. Put your hands close to the fire, rotate it, and put it to your head. Look at how she does it. So interesting to see all the traditions in play in one little place like that. There's just so many different rituals and traditions. Even though I grew up here, even I forget about how rich this country is. Alright, it's day 3 here, and we've woken up pretty early this morning. We have our flight to catch today, but before we catch our flight, we're gonna go to Haridwar, the place we were trying to get to yesterday, but we didn't end up making it. Alright, we've arrived in Haridwar. It's what, 7:30 in the morning. What's insane is in this same river in Haridwar, there's people showering in the river. Like, you know, they do that same sort of showering. And in the same river, people also let the ashes go in. And turns out it's not just ashes, also bones. So you could be showering in here and like you feel something on your feet and you pick it up, it might be a bone. That's crazy. If you see there's some chains hanging on the bridge, it's because they didn't have these barricades before, so people bathing here, it's very easy for them to get taken away by the river. So it's like a last resort. You can catch those chains if you're gone. I can't imagine what it's like here during the day when it's like 12 o'clock and there's supposed to be more people. This is what a non-crowded place in India looks like. So as you can see, in a straight line here, there's basically barbers. So all these people who are shaving or cutting their hair basically have someone who passed away. And you just saw there's like hundreds of these barbers sitting in a line and so many people doing this all at the same time. It's just insane. As you can see, someone's doing rituals here. I don't think so. As you can see, he has hair on his head, so it doesn't seem like someone passed away right now. People also come a few years later after someone passed away to, like, you know, mark the anniversary and do some rituals for that, and I think he's here for those rituals. This is the spot where my grandpa's ashes and bones were let go. Like, you see all these spots here are to do the rituals and then let go of the ashes. And at the same time there's people dipping and, you know, letting their sins go. It's just such an interesting place. You know, also if you think about it, like, imagine the biggest graveyard you've seen, multiplied that by like 10 million. This is the world's biggest graveyard in some senses. Not even an exaggeration, there's a few billion people's ashes and bones that have been let go at this very spot. I mean, just for my family, I know my grandpa from my dad's side, my grandmother and grandpa from my mom's side, all three of them were let go right here in this river, in this city. The cultural significance of this place, it signifies death, life. There's just so much significance to the spot. You can see it's my dad praying. I think he's just kind of remembering him letting his own dad go at this very spot.
मनोकामना पूर्ण करना अन्न की वृद्धि करना.
We're basically having a priest do prayers for us and help us offer rituals.
गंगा जी की आरती में.
So the priest who's helping us do prayers is mad at us now because I think he asked for some, we already paid him I think, but he's asking for some extra donation. And that's my mom throwing water at me to purify me. In a place like Haridwar, when someone comes to drop off their ancestors' ashes and bones, it's usually the sons. It's a male member of the family who comes to do that. And the way you know someone is here to drop ashes is that their heads are shaved. You have to shave your heads when someone dies in Indian culture. Just men, not women. And there's just so much going on with different things being sold, so many different rituals happening everywhere. Like, it's unbelievable. And just, you know, so many different emotions too. You know, someone's here to like maybe celebrate births, someone's here to like do their death rituals, someone's here just, you know, take a dip, someone's feeling cold, someone's doing some rituals, I'm not sure what. You know, it's just, yeah, that's India. When you have 1 billion people in one country, there's so much going on. The other thing is, so putting the ashes in here, one of the significance is that, you know, it lets the soul be free. So it's very important that anyone in the Hindu tradition that passes away, their ashes be brought here. Imagine 1 billion people and everyone comes to the same exact place to let the ashes go. Just imagine that. That's interesting. They're holding their nose. The people we saw there, they're from the south of India. So they might have traditions and rituals that might be very different from the north of India. Even though they're Hindus, they might have some different rituals like that. Holding the nose, I've never seen that before. So another interesting thing my dad was telling me right now, basically whenever he brought his dad's ashes and bones, there's one important thing, that you cannot put the bag that contains it on the floor. So when you're traveling by plane, from your home, you have to kind of wear a little bag that stays outside on you the whole time that you're traveling until here. But like when you're traveling, like say on the plane, you literally have this bag with the ashes and the bones on you the whole time. And also, you know, the security scanners and stuff in India, they see this so often. If you see a bald man with a bag, they know what's going on. So they're really nice about it. I mean, if you think about it, if you're randomly taking some bones onto an airplane, people like, any security like, yo, what the hell? Like, what's going on? But in India, because it's a tradition, it's very normal. And the other thing my dad was telling was, when he did that thing of submerging his dad's ashes, it was one of the biggest things of satisfaction, because it's like he completed his duty as a son. It's like the last thing you do as a son for your parents is submerge the ashes here. And he says that was one of the most meaningful things he's ever done. And it made him feel complete to do that for his dad. And that's something, you know, that's expected of me to do for my parents. This area right here is the most popular in all of Haridwar, where people shower and let ashes go, and it's called Haur Ki Peri. And yeah, in this area, because it's holy, you have to take your shoes off. This guy is bald, that means, you know, someone's passed away and he's doing the rituals for that. So I'm learning so much to this. So another thing I just found out, so basically whenever from my family someone comes here to let the ashes go, they have the same priest. They have a phone number of this priest, and just meet the same priest. And this priest and his family has been in charge of helping out our family with this tradition. And whenever my dad met this priest, he has a book with records of names of my great-great-great-great-grandfather, all the way up to really, really far away, of like the names and dates of when their ashes were let go. I think that is very, very fascinating. Now we're heading back to our car and then make our way back to the airport and fly to Calcutta. But yeah, I can't get enough of this place, you know, it's so spiritual, so chaotic, so much going on, oh my god. I think, this might be a bold statement, but for anyone in the world, India is the most interesting place to go. And unless you're Indian and you've seen all of this, even then, it's so interesting for me. It's the best place. Like, it's just such a different world. Like, I don't think you can find anything so rich with history, culture, and so many people all at once. Like, if you like this type of stuff, like, it does not get better than India. This is it for my trip to Rishikesh and Haridwar. I was almost not too excited to come. I was only coming here to see my grandma, but that was definitely amazing. But also just getting to see these places from a whole different perspective. You know, I've been here as a kid. This is just really, really interesting. All right, see you next time. I think I'm gonna be in Singapore next. Boom.